everybody and welcome to another episode of Street Smart University's Peak Performance Masterclass. Now remember, we are your #1 resource for personal development content, videos and articles. And today we are really glad to have with us Miss Grace Tan. Grace is a very successful blogger, she's an entrepreneur and she's also a coach. So for more information on Grace services and her blog workshops, and also more information on her book, Blogging for a Living, you can visit her website at www.workingwithgrace.wordpress.com, which should be shown on your screen right now. Grace, thank you so much for taking the time down to come down to do the interview with us. And perhaps you could say hello to our viewers.
Sure. Thank you for having me. My name is Grace and I'm the author of this newly released book. It's called Blogging for a Living. So it answers the questions that people have about blogging. For instance, how much does a blogger make per month? How can you make money from your blog? Is it possible to quit your job and become a full-time blogger? It answers these questions and more. I interview people for my blog, so likewise, for this book, I interview some of the top bloggers in Singapore at the moment.
And I understand that you have a background in sales before you transitioned to become a full-time blogger.
Yes.
So what gave you the courage, or what was it that made you decide, this is something that I want to do and, really take the plunge?
What gave me the courage? Too much money in the bank. No, I think, it's really a push and pull sort of factor. Push factor, from the company, I think I didn't want to keep doing the same thing day in and day out. I made good money. At that point, I was 24 years old. I made 114,000 Singapore dollars for that year. And that's pretty much a good sum of money for a 24-year-old in Singapore. So I thought, yes, I'm making a lot of money, but I have no life. I don't have weekends because they're all spent in the office. I, couldn't go home for dinner. So my answer to my mom each time when she asked me, will I be home for dinner tonight? I have to say, no. I have to work. So then I realized there's something missing and I wanted to find out how other people became so successful either in their jobs or in their businesses, how they started their business, for instance. And also even things like, why are people so happy? Some people are just so happy all the time. And I couldn't understand that. I had a colleague in the same company who was so happy all the time, despite, the workload, the pressure, the stress, and I wanted to find out from her, what is it that makes you so happy? It's a certain quality in people that, inspires me, or makes me, motivated to find out more. So therefore I got to interview them for my blog. So, I think that really helped, make blogging the platform for me to go and interview these people. And that's how I transitioned from being a salesperson to being a blogger.
So I think full-time blogging is gaining some traction, I think in recent times, as more and more people are actually taking this on as a career. But you must have faced some setbacks along the way. Was it very smooth sailing, or were there any incidents that made you say, wow, why am I doing this, or should I give up?
I think, it's more like being an entrepreneur, because you will always face challenges and obstacles and you feel like giving up, but you always have to go back to why you wanted to do this in the first place. And so for me, one major challenge I faced was in terms of getting people to be featured, because I'm not from the Straits Times, I'm not from any prestigious sort of magazine. So when I want to feature someone or when I want to interview someone, they are likely to say no, or they're busy, or talk to me some other time, So for instance, when I wanted to interview a fellow Toastmaster at that point in time, she's Miss Violet Lim. I'm not sure if I should call her Mrs. something else, but Violet Lim, she is the founder of Lunch Actually, the largest dating agency at the moment. And because I knew her through Toastmasters, and I asked her personally, can I interview you for my blog? And she said yes. So I thought that, it should be something really simple, it should be done really fast. But as it turned out, it took all of 10 months and 12 emails before I finally got the interview with her. And some people ask me, how do you do that? Because after say maybe a month of waiting, they don't get any result, they just move on to the next person. But it's probably just me, I persist in pursuing what I think, I want for my blog. And I wanted the interview, so I persevered. In the end, I got the interview, and I think what I learned from that is that, people will perhaps get impressed if you keep asking them for an interview. And at first they may turn you down, but eventually they'll say yes. It's like a kid asking for candy. Eventually the parent will give in. Yeah, so that has worked out for me pretty well. People always want to quit at some point in time, but you just have to press on.
But I think one of the challenges that many aspiring bloggers face is the technical setting up of the website. Was that ever a problem for you?
Because it's a blog and it's hosted on WordPress, so there was never any technical difficulty, because anyway WordPress has a very good support team. So if you have any questions, someone likely has asked it before, and you will be able to find the answer online. If yours is a surprisingly first of its kind question, then you can always approach the team for help. So I've not had any trouble with that. It's more when you want to set up a website, have your own domain name, then you look into the technical stuff. I'm not IT savvy. In fact, I like to tell people, you can go to my Facebook page, you'll see me with pictures of Hello Kitty and everything. So I know more about Hello Kitty than I know about, IT stuff. So if I can manage a blog and have it win a Singapore Blog Award, then you can do it too. I don't care if you're 66 years old or you're 16 years old, you can do it. Yeah, it's really simple. I would say you can start a blog in less than a minute. It's just 4 simple steps. I cover that in my book. So I give people screenshots as well, what to do. In fact, it's dummy proof, I would think.
So it's really not about the technical aspect, but really about letting your content shine through, and that's the hard part actually, rather than the technical setting up.
Letting your content shine through, I think you just have to write about something that you are really passionate about, and that will come through, either in an interview or in an article. What people try to do is they try to write about topics that are trending right now, but may not necessarily be what they're passionate about. And people can tell, just from reading, even if they don't hear your voice or see you speaking, but they can just tell from the article you've already written.
I see. And there are a lot of people have given me this advice to model after someone who's very successful, and they say that if you find a good mentor, then that is the fastest or the surest way to success. So I would like to ask you, who were your mentors and how did they inspire you?
I think modeling is great. In fact, I tell people, it's not modeling as in doing the catwalk, but, trying to copy what someone else has done and improving on it. In terms of mentors, right, I didn't have people who specifically coached me on certain things. But because I interviewed so many different people, they could be businessmen, they could be, very young entrepreneurs. So each one of them teaches me something new, and through the process of interviewing them, I learned something that later on I may consciously or subconsciously apply to what I'm doing in terms of blogging. So I don't have mentors per se. I have people that I look up to. There are many bloggers out there, but not all of them have done what I've done. In fact, I started blogging workshops, right? It was some sudden inspiration, that since people were asking me so many questions, why not I just, start a class and then teach people, and then they can learn, they can ask even more questions. So I didn't have anyone to model those workshops, upon. So what I did was I just started out a very small group, I think 5 people. I charged them $25. It was a significant sum at the point in time, because I'm being paid to speak. How awesome is that? And then later on, I doubled the fee each time I conducted a workshop. So eventually I found out, so this is what people are willing to pay. It's a crazy amount of money. And after that, I thought, there's still more questions. Why don't I just write a book? I've always wanted to write a book, but I had no idea what I wanted to write about. So then I got the idea of writing about blogging, and how people always ask me the same questions, how do you blog for a living? So there you have it. It's in a book form now.